This pile of junk turned out to be an expensive antique that I got completely free off Facebook Marketplace. Hello beautiful people and welcome to another video. Get something to drink, make yourself comfortable and join me as I'm trying to work on this ginormous desk. I hope I got all the pieces. This desk is absolutely ginormous. As you can see, I can hardly move individual pieces, let alone the whole thing. And I don't even know if I can actually assemble it in my workshop because it's probably too big. I don't even know if I have all the parts that I need, but we'll see. Looks like this is a solid oak and this is a very nicely done piece. I imagine this was very expensive when it was new. And this is the biggest roll top I've ever seen in my life. Definitely needs some work. I think I'm just going to start by collecting all the screws and the bits that are inside because I'll probably need them and see what parts I actually have. I don't know what this is. Looks like there's some sort of movable divider. Interestingly, this actually tells you exactly when this was made, 1929, and it says it's made of oak. I am assuming this is brass plaque. It says this is the Globe, Wernickel, London. I just had a quick search on Google and desks made by this brand go for over £1,000 and some of them for over £2,000. And I got this one for free. Which is pretty insane. That's pretty convenient, you can just take this out, so I'll be able to clean it properly. And the drawer runners are broken. I mean, they're not broken, they just need to be attached. I'm gonna start with these small pieces because this is gonna be pretty straightforward and it will get me going. For all of you who like sanding, you're gonna enjoy this video because there is a lot of sanding and I kept most of the footage, though I sped up all of it pretty much so you don't fall asleep, just to give you an idea how much work I actually put into this project. And I know it's been a long time since my last video and I appreciate you waiting patiently, but hopefully after this video you'll understand why it took so long. I think it's fair to say that this will need re-gluing.
A few moments later.
I'm not gonna lie, this seems a bit overwhelming. I've got two of these, I've got this whole thing, and the roll top actually will need some work because some of the pieces will need re-gluing on top of, you know, cleaning the whole thing. And every single part will just take a lot of work and I don't really know where I want to start, but I think I'm just gonna take one of these and I need to start somewhere. As you can see, it's in a bit of a state and there's quite a lot of mold. I'll need to address this later, but I'm just going to re-glue it so it stays together. It probably would have been much easier if I just took care of every single piece individually and then glued them together, but oh well. I kind of did that with the other half. I don't know why I haven't learned it yet, but every time I get a project like this that's a bit overwhelming because there's just so much work to do, I know that it gets easier as soon as I start working on it, but somehow it just takes me forever to actually do it. And I'm a master of procrastination. I'm gonna let this one dry and I'll see if the other one needs regluing. Yep, it does. So this is a floating panel, so this doesn't need to be glued over here or here, but these need to be, if you know what I mean. It's gonna be much easier to clean these pieces if I take them out. This way I'll be able to easily sand it all the way to the edge and I won't need to worry about these bits. See, I told you, I learned from my mistake, and this was actually much easier. There was quite a lot of mold on this piece, but this is hardwood and it was only superficial.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
Oh well. First surprise of the project. This was actually a very simple fix because it was a clean break, so I just used a little bit of glue, taped it together, clamped it, and Bob's your uncle. Because this was a very thin board, I actually clamped it down to the bench so I could actually clamp it together, otherwise it would just bow and break, if you know what I mean. Once I clamped it together and cleaned off all the glue, I needed to leave it for a little bit for the glue to dry, but because it's been very hot in the UK lately, but it wasn't going to take long at all, but it was enough time for me to go to the nearby pub and grab a quick lunch because I just didn't feel like cooking at all. I wasn't very adventurous with my food choices, and other than the salad, it was actually pretty good.
A few moments later.
As you can see, that was plenty of time for the glue to set, and I was ready to move on with the project. This desk has seen a lot of abuse, and especially the legs just looked so beat up and dirty. I'm removing the runner because it's not really attached and I want to clean it, but as you will see in a minute, it's completely covered in some sort of industrial grease, and there was also a lot of it on the bottom of both of the sides, and I had to give it a really good clean because there was just so much of it. I vacuumed, sanded and cleaned both of those cubbies with mineral spirit, but later on I'm actually going to use some vinegar because, you know, there was a bit of mold everywhere. So I've got two of these and I'm only going to show you what I did with the first one and maybe a little bits of the second one, because obviously that would be super boring and I had to do everything twice. Pretty much this entire thing needed regluing and putting together because it was just completely loose and in pieces, but at least I was able to clean everything properly and make sure that it was sturdy. Once I clamped it, I left it to dry and I went to check up on Mando because it's been very hot and I actually have a little fun aimed at him so he can stay cool in this weather. The old sliders were really rusty and some of them were actually broken, so I removed them and I'm going to replace them with modern ones. And all the metal bits, the brackets that I removed and I soaked in rust remover, I also gave them a clean with wire wheel just to polish them a little bit. And to prevent them from rusting again, I sprayed them with WD-40. And now that I'm kind of mentally prepared for it, it's time to do all the sanding. Vintage chewing gum in mint condition, anyone?
"2,000 years later."
I really wish I could say that this was all the sanding that I did, but not even close. In the past few years, the question I've been asked about 1,000 times is whether I have any formal training in woodworking or am I self-taught, and I've always replied that the only way I learn is from watching other people online and trying things myself and making lots of mistakes. There's a vast library of content on the internet, on platforms such as YouTube, and some of it is great, but some of it not as much. There is one place though where you can learn all the woodworking skills you need in a professional and organized manner, and that's this video's sponsor, Woodworkers Guild of America. Woodworkers Guild of America is your online resource for all the woodworking knowledge and inspiration you need, whether you're a complete novice or you have plenty of experience and just want to learn some new skills or advance your knowledge. You learn directly from the experts who share their tips and tricks and help you take your skills to the next level, step by step, at your own pace, and whenever it suits you. As a member of Woodworkers Guild of America, you get access to premium videos ranging from tool buying advice and shop setup, through cabinet making, joinery, to project design and downloadable files. Even though I've used iron acetate before, which is a mixture of vinegar and steel wool, I recently learned from a video by Elisha Alberstein that you can add a couple of old copper coins to warm up the color and make it more brown. I also learned a cool new trick for sanding turned legs, and I'm currently watching videos on wood turning. So all of you who tell me that you wish you could learn woodworking, you can now do so by becoming a member of the Woodworkers Guild of America, and for the first 1,000 of you who use my link or the QR code on the screen, I've got an incredible deal, and you can get a full year of premium membership for only $1.49. which is pretty much free. And I'm not saying all that just because they sponsor my video. I know quite a few YouTubers who do similar things to what I do, who actually use Woodworkers Guild of America to learn new things. So I can really recommend it to everyone who wants to, get into woodworking. And now the thing that I've been dreading. I need to tackle this thing and I don't really know how I'm gonna do it, but I need to take it apart first. I think one of the most difficult part of this whole project was that it's just so heavy and it was so difficult to move all those bits by myself. This top looks like it's been through a lot. A bit dusty. But because I've got it in pieces, it's gonna be so much easier to sand it and clean it. If you've ever sanded hardwood of this size, you know how much work is ahead of me. So to make it a bit easier for myself, I scrape the whole thing first. I think this is gonna take an incredible amount of sanding and I'm not gonna play with it, so I've got the big boy connected to my extractor and see if I can make this any quicker this way. That was fun. Now that I've sanded the top, I'm using a little bit of oxalic acid just to spot treat some of the bits. I just added a little bit of oxalic acid and I'm letting this dry, so I think it's starting to rain. Welcome to England. What the heck? And no, it's not the rain that was surprising, it's the fact that the sun was shining and it was raining at the same time. I think I'll need to remove this front piece because it's much thicker and it will make it easier to work on the rest. But I also need to remove these handles, but they are probably glued. Oh no, they're not. Wow. This doesn't happen very often. There's a chunk of this front piece missing, so I'll need to repair this. I'm also debating whether I want to replace this backing on the entire thing. I probably should because it's a bit fragile and it's actually cracked in several places, so this is not glued at all. This looks like it's a bit moldy, so I've got vinegar in here and I'm just going to spray this entire thing. I'm also going to spray the inside just for good measure. I've cleaned this, but you know, mold is a bit tricky. I don't know what is the best way to do this, but I think I need to do some scraping because otherwise it's gonna be a lot of sanding. All right, one done, 42 more to go. If you count for moral support, I think I'll need it on this one. Talking about support, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for watching my videos, and a special shout out to the channel members. You guys are the best, and if anyone wants to contribute to what I do, you can find all the links in the description. You can buy me a coffee via Buy Me a Coffee, visit my Amazon wishlist, or simply hit the super thanks button. I think this might take a while. This took forever and a half. Wow, that was so much fun. I think I want to do it again. Just kidding. Alright, how do I want to do this? Yeah, I definitely don't want to do that again. That was brutal. I think this part can potentially be even more fun. Foreshadowing. I don't think there is a different way of doing this other than by hand, so I'll see you at the other end of my mental health breakdown. There was a repair made already with some sort of wood filler or epoxy putty. I'm using epoxy putty. This is oxalic acid, so I'm just going to give it a wipe. Just to clarify, I'm wiping off the oxalic acid with water, not spraying oxalic acid. I don't know which part was the worst, but I think that sanding between these pieces was the most time consuming. And now I need to sand this whole thing, but it's not perfectly even, so I'm gonna use this spongy adapter thing. I hope that by now you've got a rough idea how much work and time it took to complete this project and how huge it was. There are a couple places that need some wood filler. So this piece needs a few things done to it. There's a large chunk of this trim missing, and it's gonna be a bit tricky to replace it because it's very thin. I need to clean up this lock, and there are a few smaller bits that needs fixing. Let's see if I can unscrew this. And for a change, the screws came out with no fight at all. Got this piece, it seems to be pretty much the same thickness as this lip, so I'm gonna use it to extend it over here. To make it nice and tidy, I put some tape down just so I wouldn't need to clean the glue and make this whole process quick and easy. And now I can do the thing that I don't really know how I'm gonna do it. So this obviously needs to be fixed, and because some of it is actually attached, I think I'm basically going to leave small pieces of each one of these just to keep this together, and I'll replace portions with new pieces of canvas, and I think this is the best way to do it. Man, this is so much fun. So now that I got the fabric off, I can clean and sand a little bit the wood so there's not too much glue and I have a nice surface to work with. And I can cut the fabric into smaller pieces and glue it down. This is a bit unusual, I guess, the way I'm going to do this, but I don't know how else I'm gonna do it because it's just so huge, so finger crossed it works.
A few moments later.
You might be thinking that because I didn't apply any pressure, I basically just pressed the fabric down and left it to dry, that it didn't work well, but it sure did. Look at me being all smug about the fact that my plan actually worked. I don't know what I would have done if it didn't. The reason I left a bit more fabric is because I need to attach this piece now. And this is 5 to 15 minutes quick drying glue. I don't know if you can see this, but as soon as I press the fabric into the glue, it kind of sticks. I'm gonna send all these bits off camera because this is gonna be boring, and I'll get to the drawers and Bob's your uncle. I haven't really explained my plan for this desk, but basically, because this is an antique and because I've sanded the whole thing and I removed all the patina together with all the damage, which kind of was necessary because it was just so beat up, I still want to make it look like it's got a ton of character and I don't want to make it brand new, so this is kind of the look that I'm going for. These handles are typically glued, so that's why I was so surprised. Anyhow, I'm getting close to the end of this project. Now I'm going to take care of the drawers and sand them everywhere and apply oil just to make sure they're nice. And I even polished this little brass plaque to make it shiny. Now that I'm actually finished with this project, I have a bit of a problem, because if I decide to sell this, I'm gonna keep it as it is because I think it will be just more true to what it would look like originally. But if I decide to keep it for myself, I think I'm gonna change it a bit and add some black bits and probably change the hardware. So if I do that, I'm gonna give you an update and post a picture on YouTube. There are literally dozens of repairs that I need to make of this sort, and it's just not practical to use a piece of wood because this isn't really big enough. So I'm going to use this quick wood, which is epoxy putty basically. I'm going to mix a little bit at a time because it gets hard really quickly. And now I'm just gonna do this many more times.
Later.
Once I was done with all the repairs, I did some more cleaning because there was still a little bit of that greasy whatever that was on the drawers, and it was just getting everywhere, so I used some white spirit to get it off. And this is why it took that long. As far as the finish goes, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, and I'm going to use hard wax oil and use a bit of black pigment, just because, as I said, I want to make it look aged and not brand new. And because I'm going to apply this oil with a piece of microfiber cloth, it will naturally give me variation in color, and it will just make it look a bit, worn, if it makes sense. Basically what I'm saying is that I can add a bit more or a bit less of that oil with pigment and make it look darker or light, and just, give it some variation and make it look not factory new. Typically this process doesn't take much time, but because these pieces were so huge, it actually took almost all day to do all of this. So I'm almost done with this project. About time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't skipped through it and watched the entire thing, thank you. I appreciate it because it makes the YouTube algorithm think that you liked it and it will recommend it to other people. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do, so you can see my other videos. I might make some changes as far as the hardware. I don't know, I haven't decided, but hope you enjoyed the final results, and I will see you in the next video.